Okay, guys, so we are back to our third episode of this section on self-love, healthy boundaries, and forgiveness, and why all of them are absolutely vital and important to a happy, productive, and fulfilling life. And so we left off last section, which if you've missed either of those, I really recommend you to go listen to all of them because it's going to make so much more sense if you listen to all three parts. But the last section, we were talking about healthy boundaries and why healthy boundaries are absolutely vital and necessary to a happy and fulfilling life and to, just feeling peaceful and sane. And so we're going to now move into the forgiveness part because I think there's a lot of perspectives in the world on forgiveness, and everyone's got a right to their own perspective. There are some recipes I was handed through religion years ago and recipes I've been handed from different people's perspective that I sat with and was like, this doesn't really feel right to me. And so I feel like an important part of our journey is to find I have hiccups. I keep getting, sometimes there's little energetic hiccups I'll get or things that will happen because I'm moving energy, just to be clear. So I don't have like an issue with hiccups. I just get them and it's energy moving. But when we want to understand something, we're really the most important way to understand what is true and real for us is to be introspective and to actually process and sit in stillness with our own awareness, with what we really feel about something, instead of just taking on a projection or a belief system, So if we go to a church and they tell us this is what you do, you just forgive your neighbor, just keep letting your neighbor be an asshole and just keep forgiving them. Or, well, it's your husband, that's your husband, you married him, and so you just got to forgive him forever. Just give him space, let him act like a toddler, let him do whatever dumb bullshit he wants to do, but you just keep being a good girl and you be a good wife and forgive him. Fuck that. Like, I 100% say fuck that. Because to me, that is not what forgiveness means. That is what it means to be ignorant and tolerant to toxic abuse cycles. That is what it means to not have self-love. That is what it means to not have inner peace and balance and safety. And so we have to be so mindful and aware of the kind of belief systems that we take on and tell ourselves, because if you've been telling yourself something like that, then the chances are you're really not being your best friend and you're really working against yourself to your ultimate goals. If your ultimate goals are to have inner peace and happiness and fulfillment, you got to look at how belief systems align with that or completely bring disharmony to that goal. So now that we know what it isn't, let's get into what forgiveness is and why it's important. Because one thing I personally feel is that forgiveness is not a gift we're giving other people necessarily. Forgiveness doesn't mean it's a free get out of jail card. It doesn't mean that we're saying, okay, I forgive you. You did, you cheated on me. You betrayed me. You harmed me. You keep hating on me, but I forgive you. I forgive you. I forgive you. You say sorry. I say I forgive you. You say sorry. It's insane. If you continue that pattern, that's insane, right? So forgiveness, true forgiveness, is a gift that we give to ourself. It has nothing to do with the other person. Forgiving someone does not mean that they can have access to you again. Forgiving someone does not mean that suddenly everything's been wiped clean and you guys hang out again, because that person has to do their own inner work and their growth. If they have not done that inner work, if they do not have self-awareness, if they have not worked on self-regulation, I promise you, they will come at you again and bring the bullshit again, because that's what they are going to do until they go and do their healing work, till they actually heal and mature. So you forgiving someone is a gift you give to yourself. It means I can see this situation. I can see that this person is doing the best they understand. What I feel Christ was saying in a Christed consciousness was, forgive them for they know not what they do. Wasn't meaning let people walk all over you and keep doing it and go to the potluck and chit chat in a fake superficial way. It was saying, I understand in consciousness, in the great I am alignment with source that I am one with, I understand that you, in your unconsciousness, in your lack of awareness, do not have any, you do not fathom with any kind of comprehension the damage in which you are doing, because you are in a state of unconscious projection. So forgive them for they know not what they do means I can forgive them for they know not what they're fucking doing. They do not understand at a conscious level, because if they were in a conscious state of frequency and they were in a higher frequency of unconditional love, they would not be doing that stuff. They would not be hating on you. They would not be harassing you. They would not be lashing out at you. Does that make sense, guys? So we can forgive people and we can understand that they don't understand the damage that they're doing, right? If you have a child or a partner that's an addict of any kind, addicted to alcohol, addicted to drugs, addicted to cheating, gambling, it doesn't matter what it is. You understand, well, I mean, I'm not going to say you do, but what you can understand is that that person has a toxic pattern and a behavior. You can forgive them because they don't understand what they're doing, because they're completely being controlled by an addiction. But at the same time, you don't need to have any kind of open door to them. They do not deserve access to you. That's what you need to understand. And you can forgive them if you had an ex that betrayed you and didn't help you and drained you and exhausted you and was so toxic. And they refused to see that they were that. They refused to look in the mirror and see how toxic they are being. You can forgive them even though they knew not what they did, because they were in a state of unconscious ignorance. But you do not and should not open that door and grant them access. That's what it means. So I can forgive because that frees me of the heaviness of that experience. So I can forgive that toxic person's behavior, and I can forgive everything in myself that kept letting, like, hit me again, Ike, and this time put some stank on it, you know? Like, I might have been going through this cycle of how do I help them? How do I get them to love themselves? And I could have had great intentions, right? Some of you out there have excellent intentions. You want to be helpful. You want to encourage the person to heal. All of that's beautiful. But if a person continuously does toxic things and they are in an unconscious place and they are in an addictive place and they are not having ownership, forgive them for they know not what they do, but do not grant them access. They should not live with you. You should not let them come through. They don't need to text you. They don't need to call you. They don't need to email you. You do not need anything from them other than the lesson. What you needed from that experience was a lesson in healthy boundaries. What you needed in that experience was a lesson to love yourself, to stop loving so many other people at the cost of loving yourself. That's what you needed from it. You don't need their apology. You don't need their fake bullshit. You don't need to hear anything from that person. You don't. Now, again, not every experience is exactly the same. So there might be some people that a certain situation opens and you feel a guidance to listen to what they have to say. So I'm not saying this is a rigid rule. Sometimes you might feel a guidance to listen. And other times you might feel a guidance to, you know what, I don't want to be involved in this. I really don't want to be involved in anything to do with your life. You did me dirty. You did me too wrong. And I really wish you healing. And that is completely appropriate. It is completely acceptable to wish someone healing, even if you know that you don't need that person in your movie. They don't need to be there, or they're not allowed. There are certain people that have done me so dirty that they're not allowed. They are not, there is no key code. There is no lock. There is no way to get in. The gate is sealed. It is impenetrable. And that is sometimes the exact and absolutely necessary response to certain energies. So I hope that's so clear to you guys that, like, again, it's not like one recipe fits all. And in some cases, there might be a person that you're like, you know what, let me give you a message. I'm going to give you a warning that if you do this again, I'm going to go silent and then I'll block you. And so you give people warning sometimes. And then there's other people that the chaos and the destruction and the torment and the torture and the abuse was the goodbye. That was the closure. And so we got to get so clear on what's closure for me as an individual. What do I feel I need from this situation for closure in the regards to what will I accept or not accept from another person? As a person that's toxic, you do not have the right to think, I need to hear from you. I need to tell you I'm sorry to have closure. No, what you need is to suck off of somebody. You want to vampirically take their energy. You're like a parasite and you want to go and host in someone's energy field. You want a reaction. You don't care if it's a loving one or if it's a toxic one. You just want chaos. You want a reaction. So to anyone out there that is the toxic parasitical people, go work on yourselves and go actually talk to a therapist and tell them the truth so that you can heal. Because the more you bullshit yourself and you bullshit others, you just stay stuck. You stay stuck in those toxic behaviors. You stay stuck in those toxic cycles, and you will never have a chance to have lasting and healthy love with yourself or another. So it's so important that you guys understand that forgiving people is important to our inner peace. It's important for our healing. It's important for us to move on. If you're a person like myself that has had a pattern in the past with narcissists, the one-sided takers, they come in like parasites and they want to host in your field and they want to take from you and they want to torment you and bring chaos to your world. If that's what you grew up in, that's going to seem so normal. It's going to seem I can't talk right now. It's comfortably uncomfortable is what I say in my book, Universal Trust Fund Baby, is that when we're raised in environments that are toxic and abusive, we associate that with normalcy. Like chaos is love, because in our reality, chaotic energy happened and we did all the things to people please to get any sense and semblance of love. That is not true. That is not love. It never was love and it never will be love. But that is what we have to unlearn. That is the part that we have to deprogram ourselves from that pattern. And so forgiveness, again, like I can forgive my relatives. I can forgive my parents. I can forgive the people in my world that really were torturous to me. And it's literally, if I made my life story into a movie, it would blow everybody's fucking mind because it's insane. The shit I survived, the shit that was the total chaos and craziness that I survived. But I survived that. That is not my reality now. That is not going to be my reality moving forward. And those patterns, done. And so for those of you tuning in, at some level, some part of you is ready and wants to be done with something toxic and some kind of pattern, or you wouldn't have been drawn here. But you have to understand that that responsibility is yours, and it starts with self-love. The responsibility to have excellent boundaries is yours, and that is going to only be able to happen if you actually have self-love. And the responsibility of yours to forgive people, that responsibility is yours. And it does not mean anyone has access to you or a right to you because you forgave them. It means that you can forgive yourself and you can forgive the other and you can forgive the circumstance that brought that chaotic energy into your life. But also you can receive a lesson. What was the lesson? What was the gift that you got from that experience? And that is a gift that you give to yourself. It has nothing to do with the other. The other was just a teacher coming in. And we're all teachers, right? Some of us are teachers of love. Some of us are teachers of chaos. Some of us are teachers of understanding why healthy boundaries are important. Some of us are teachers of, setting those important boundaries, even if it pisses off the ones who really would love you not to have them anymore. And you've got to recognize that people that have not healed and evolved, they are not going to even understand how to connect with you when you have, because you've moved into a different frequency. You don't live there anymore. You don't live in that low vibrational, like I remember I used to call an old sense of myself, the old self that I've gone through many death, rebirth situations in my life. And that one I referred to as doormat mom. And she had to be released. Like, she is not me any longer. So if somebody comes towards me wanting to have a convo with doormat mom, they can't reach her because she is not there. They're going to meet my guard, my warrior who's guarding the gates. Like, I'm sorry, did you have an appointment? Who is you? What is your name? Why are you here? So it's important that we recognize that because we evolve doesn't mean other people are evolving with us and at the same pace. And in quite honestly, a lot of times what feels chaotic and can feel kind of disruptive, right, and disappointing in life is that we are evolving at our pace and others are refusing to. And that's okay. That is why some people come into your life for a short time. Others are there for longer. Sometimes some people are there for a lifetime and they really could have been let go of a long time ago, but you keep staying attached to them. You have an attachment. You have a belief system. So this is where self-love requires us to really reflect and go into an introspective part of ourselves and really see, like, what are my beliefs? What are my expectations? What do I believe about this situation? What is my attachment to this person or this situation or this thing that is causing my suffering? And once we can see that, we can set the boundary that feels appropriate for the situation and for us. And we can forgive ourselves for the times we didn't do that. We can forgive ourselves for how long it took us to get to this place where we're ready to have healthy boundaries and to practice self-love. And it's important that we do forgive ourselves. And then we can forgive the other, the piece of ourselves that showed up in an outer expression to kind of come and put pressure on us to ascend, to put pressure on us to evolve, to put pressure on us to give ourselves love and to heal and to grow and to become a better, more aligned and aware person. So again, forgiveness is a gift we give to ourselves, and it does not mean we have to hang out with the person again. Now, sometimes you might forgive somebody. Maybe you had like a boundary with your kid or your mother or somebody in your family that is important to you, but you had a boundary for a while because they needed to learn a lesson. And maybe they stayed away a long time because they did not want to apologize or they did not want to show honor. And so the boundary remained. And then they show up and they're like, you know what? I've been working on myself. I've been going to therapy and I'd really like to talk to you and I'd like to apologize for my part. I would like to, make efforts to have a relationship again. And then it's again, your discernment to see, do I feel this is true? Do I feel this is real? Be open to it. Anyway, sorry, I got a phone call on there while I was recording, but what I was saying was you might have the guidance to forgive a person and to give them another chance, but in a way that feels healthy and where you're still honoring your boundaries. So you might meet up for tea. You might go on a walk and you check in on their energy. Does it seem like they're actually, evolving? Does it seem like they're growing? Does it seem like they're figuring stuff out? So again, there's nothing rigid, and rigidity is definitely not helpful in the world of intuitive flow. But we have to be in a place where we really are loving ourselves and we're having good intuition and awareness in order to have healthy connection with others. And so if you feel guided to talk to someone or not talk to someone, that's totally up to you. But there are times when the dishonor and the disrespect was the closure, and that is absolutely okay. And then there might be times where you feel a guidance to talk to someone, or you feel a guidance to, or the universe might just orchestrate something where the two of you are brought together in a way where you can't deny it, that you are being guided to come together to heal something. And that's going to take excellent awareness. It's going to require excellent self-love and excellent boundaries from you to, approach that in a healthy way. So I hope all of this was really beneficial and helpful for all of you. It has been life-changing for me. And I feel, a big part of our joy and our happiness is when we can forgive painful things, because in order for us to, it's kind of like there's this thing going around, like I'm not really into like these little taglines everyone talks about, but like on social media right now, so many people are saying like, you don't look like what you've been through. And I've heard so many readings about that. And I'm like, you know what? That's fucking true, because I don't look like what I've been through. And that's because I put so much energy into health and taking care of myself and eating well and spending time in nature and exercise and having healthy boundaries and helping the world, like through these podcasts and through the healing sessions that I offer. I help the world. I'm here to be of service. And so not looking like what you've been through doesn't mean that people have not been through so much. And I know I've been through so much, but I feel like why I can stay so youthful and happy and optimistic is because I process it. I go and I sit with it. I take time out. I don't feel like we're here only to be producing things. If I feel a guidance to take a month off and then come back and share a podcast that's from the heart and truthful and filled with wisdom, then that is exactly how I'm going to be doing it. And so if any of you feel that guidance to take time off, to rest, to reflect, to really sit with the silence and sit with yourselves and to be in stillness with the situation so that you can really process, like, what did I learn from this? Why did I attract this? What did this come into my life to teach me? What have I learned? And, how can I be a better person because of it? Like, you're a winner. It doesn't matter how many people want to come and bring bullshit to your door. If you can take that bullshit and turn it into fertilizer and grow a fucking amazing garden, you're an alchemist. You're a genius. And so it doesn't mean we're needing to have constant deliveries of bullshit to our door, by the way, but I can playfully say, no matter what people bring to me, I'm going to transmute it and I'm going to alchemize it into something that benefits my life. And then I'm going to take that magic and that wisdom and I'm going to share it with all of you in the collective as a tool to help you. And that is a true magician. And that is what we're here to be, is empowered, empathic, beautiful magicians. And we're not here to take shit and just keep taking it. We're here to transmute that shit. We're here to learn from that shit. And we're here to grow a garden from what we learned from that shit. So I hope all of this is so helpful to you and that all of you are just thriving in your lives and your realities. I welcome any of your comments, your feedback, or any of your, if any of you want to work with me and get some help and support, reach out, go to my website, mindfulnessmastery888.com. And I've got all my healing session information there. And also you can tune into this podcast. And if you're just new to listening, go back and listen to all of them. I promise you'll get really amazing golden information. So, and I love it when you guys take a minute. It helps me a lot to bring you content and to take care of my life and my well-being. If you just take a moment to follow and subscribe, to like and comment on the content, and then just share it with those who you feel it could help. Because you sharing this wisdom helps me help the world. And I really am so grateful for all of you. Thank you so much. Namaste.